I moved to Connemara last spring, chasing solitude after a messy divorce. The cottage I rented was a squat, stone-walled thing on the edge of a bog, surrounded by heather and gnarled hawthorn trees. The nearest neighbour was a mile away, and the nearest town was a 20-minute drive. The landlord, an old man with wind-etched skin, warned me to stick to the marked paths across the bog. It's not just the muck that'll swallow you, he said, his eyes darting to the horizon. I thought he meant the weather. I was wrong. The first few weeks were quiet, save for the wind howling across the peatlands. I'd walk the bog path during the day, sketching the stark beauty of the landscape. Grey skies, black water pooling in the hollows, the occasional herring gliding like a ghost. But at night, the cottage felt different. The air grew thick, and the silence wasn't silent at all. There was a hum, low and constant, like a pulse coming up through the floor. I told myself it was the bog settling, water shifting underground. But it wasn't just the sound that unnerved me. It was the feeling like something was watching me from just beyond the lamplight. One night, about a month in, I woke to a noise outside. Not the hum, but a sharp, wet sound, like footsteps slogging through mud. I checked the clock, 3:14 a.m. The cottage was pitch dark, the moon smothered by clouds. I grabbed my flashlight and peered out the window, expecting to see a sheep or maybe a fox. Nothing. Just the bog, stretching out like a black sea. But that sound kept coming. Slow, deliberate, circling the house. Step, squelch, step, squelch. I locked the door, though the flimsy bolt felt useless, and waited until dawn. By morning, there were no tracks, no sign of anything. The bog looked untouched. I asked my neighbour, an old woman named Mary, who lived in a farmhouse down the road, if she'd heard anything strange. She went quiet, her hands tightening around her mug of tea. "You've been out there at night, haven't you?" she said, not really asking. "Stay out of the bog after dark. It's not safe." When I pressed her, she muttered something about the hollow folk and changed the subject. I thought it was just local superstition, but her eyes stayed fixed on the floor, like she was afraid to meet mine. The noises got worse after that. The squelching steps came every night, always around 3 a.m., always circling. I stopped sleeping, my nerves frayed from the constant hum, and the sense that something was waiting just outside. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my flashlight, a kitchen knife, and I stepped out into the dark. The air was damp, thick with the earthy smell of peat. The bog was silent except for that faint hum, vibrating in my chest. I followed the path, my beam cutting through the mist, until I reached a hollow I'd never noticed before. A sunken patch of ground ringed by twisted roots, with a pool of black water at its center. The hum was louder here, almost deafening, like a chant without words. My flashlight flickered, and for a moment, I thought I saw something in the water. A face, pale and blurred, staring up at me. I stumbled back, heart hammering, and that's when I saw the marks. Footprints, fresh and deep, leading from the hollow into the bog. They weren't human. Too long, too narrow, with an extra toe that bent at a wrong angle. I followed them, knife trembling in my hand, until they vanished into a patch of soft peat. The ground there was disturbed, like something had clawed its way up or down. I ran back to the cottage, locked myself in, and didn't leave for 2 days. But the noises followed me inside. The squelching steps were under the floor now, pacing beneath the bedroom. The hum was louder, forming words I couldn't understand, like a language older than the stones. I called Mary, desperate, and she came over, her face grim. She didn't step inside. "You've been to the hollow, haven't you?" she said. "You've seen it." She told me the story then, her voice low, decades ago during the famine. People in these parts did things to survive, things they didn't speak of. Some turned to the bog, offering blood to the old things that lived in its depths, things that weren't gods but something worse. In return they got food, shelter, life, but at a cost. The hollow, she said, was where they made their offerings. They're still there, she whispered. They don't forget a debt. I laughed it off, or tried to, but that night I found something in the cottage, scratched into the wooden beam above my bed. Faint but fresh were words in Irish. Tatu imokua anish. I don't speak Irish fluently, but it means, you are mine now. I packed my things and left the next morning, driving to Galway City. I'm staying in a hotel now, but the hum hasn't stopped. It's in my head, constant. And last night, I heard the squelching steps again, right outside my door. I checked the hall, empty. But when I looked at my shoes by the bed, they were caked in wet peat, like I've been walking the bog in my sleep. I'm posting this because I don't know what to do. The Garda won't take me seriously, and Mary won't answer my calls. I found an old book in the library about Connemara folklore, and it mentions the hollow folk, things that live in the bog, neither dead nor alive, that claim those who disturb their ground. It says they mark their own with words, like the ones on my beam. I checked my hotel room ceiling last night. There's nothing there yet, but I can't shake the feeling that there's something coming for me. The hum is louder now, and it's starting to sound like my name.